Welcome back to also cybersecurity episodes with Cyberqueen. A global consulting company recently found itself at the center of a major data breach when an employee mistakenly shared a sensitive project folder in SharePoint with an external contractor. What is the business impact of this? Well, that's exactly what we'll be discussing in this episode. Hi, I'm Venicia. I'm the founder of Cyberqueen, a cloud security architect and a Microsoft MVP. Together with Also, we bring you cybersecurity insights packed with the latest news and diverse perspectives. Now, Also is running a series of webinars focused on security where you can dive deeper into Microsoft's solutions and hear directly from industry experts. The security series includes both on-demand videos and live webinars. You'll find the links to the webinars and the learning opportunities in the description, so make sure to register to take full advantage of these learning opportunities. And as always, make sure to check out the Also Cloud Marketplace for more insights. Now, back to the consulting firm and their big issue here. The folder that was accidentally shared by the stakeholder at the company contained confidential client strategies and financial projections. Because SharePoint's default sharing settings were too permissive, the contractor forwarded the link to an unauthorized third party, who then leaked the information to a competitor. Now, what's the business impact of this, you might ask? Well, the company lost a multi-million-dollar client contract due to the leaked trade secrets. They faced compliance fines for failing to protect confidential information. Their reputation took a hit, with clients questioning their security policies. The entire incident could have been prevented with the right security configurations in Microsoft 365 by enforcing restricted external sharing policies, enabling data loss prevention, DLP, and using Microsoft 365's E5's advanced threat detection capabilities. The company could have ensured that only authorized users had access, preventing this very critical data leakage. In reality, collaboration really is important. But without the proper security controls, Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, and OneDrive can become entry points for data breaches, compliance violations, and for insider threats. In this video, we are breaking all of this down: the security features of Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, and OneDrive, and why they actually matter, how Microsoft 365 E3 versus E5 changes your security approach, as well as step-by-step configurations to lock down your collaboration tools and prevent incidents like this from happening to your company. Let's start with securing Microsoft Teams. Teams is a central hub for communication and collaboration, but misconfigured settings can expose sensitive data. Unrestricted file sharing or guest access or unmonitored messaging channels can lead to data leaks. It can lead to regulatory violations, and it can lead to insider threats and insider risk exposures. When it comes to meeting policies, there are a few settings that you can configure to prevent unauthorized access. Meetings in Teams definitely include sensitive discussions. So this could be from financial projections to HR policies, and without the proper controls, confidential data and confidential discussions can be recorded, distributed, or accessed by unauthorized attendees. The latest here we have seen is the use of AI note-taking capabilities that's unauthorized by an organization, recording the entire meeting and the content of the meeting, and then storing it within this unauthorized tool. It's really important that we control which tools and which stakeholders have access to our Teams meetings. So there's a few security configurations that you can think about here. So the first thing is lobby controls. Lobby controls help to ensure that only invited users can join meetings and that guests actually require approval to join. Then there is the ability to disable anyone joining that's anonymous, so you can prevent external users from accessing meetings without doing the proper proper authentication. This is really important for those critical confidential meetings. Sometimes there are going to be external parties that can authenticate as a guest, and they can then put their name in there, and that's okay if it's not a confidential meeting. But if it's a confidential meeting, you want to ensure that they are authenticated either to their Microsoft tenant or your Microsoft tenant in order to join your meetings. Or if it's only an internal meeting, you can prevent anyone else from joining that's external, right? Then it is also about restricting recording permissions. So you can ensure that only authorized users can record meetings, preventing data from being stored insecurely. Without these controls, there is actually an impact here, and the stakes are high. Meetings and discussions can be recorded by unauthorized users, and it can be leaked to external investors, as an example, causing a major issue for your company. There's also the disgruntled employee. So imagine a disgruntled employee recording an internal HR meeting. This can pose serious legal risks. With Microsoft 365 E5, businesses can actually enforce certain retention policies. You can audit meeting logs, and you can ensure that meeting content is protected through compliance policies. All right, next up, let's talk a little bit about managing guest access and channel security. So in this example, let's look at a marketing agency. So a marketing agency invites an external consultant to collaborate on a project in Teams. But due to misconfigured guest access settings, the consultant can browse all internal project files, including proprietary client data. Now here, there are some key security considerations that you may have. So the first thing is to restrict guest access. So only allow guest access to designated Teams channels and not the entire workspace. Specifically select the channel and add the guest, and don't allow the entire workspace for a specific team. Then you can also have private channels and sensitivity labels. So you can limit access to highly sensitive discussions by making sure that only authorized users can participate. Then there's also the DLP policies, so data loss prevention policies. Prevent guests from downloading or forwarding confidential files. With Microsoft E3 and E5, there is a key difference here. So E3 provides basic guest access controls but lacks the automated content protection, where E5 enables advanced DLP, ensuring that sensitive information can't be shared or downloaded by unauthorized users. With E5, organizations can enforce guest access restrictions. You can also use the insider risk management tools and set up real-time monitoring for unusual access patterns. Now, let's pivot into the direction of securing SharePoint and OneDrive. SharePoint and OneDrive store and manage critical business documents. If access to the settings on these software services are too open, businesses face huge compliance risks. There's the risk of intellectual property theft and accidental data exposure. Now, you can actually control file sharing and access permissions in these platforms. So first, let's look at an example. Now, a risk example here would be an HR department uploads employee salary reports to SharePoint but forgets to restrict access. That is such a huge risk and such a huge error on the HR part. Now, employees across departments can now view this confidential payroll data, leading to internal disputes and compliance violations. Now, some of the configuration to consider here is to restrict external sharing. On OneDrive and SharePoint, you can allow only sharing with trusted domains and enforce manual approval for external access. You can also enable expiring access link. Now, this is super helpful to prevent unlimited file access by automatically revoking permissions after a specific set period. And then you can restrict download permissions, so you can block users from downloading files to personal devices to prevent data leaks. From a E3 and E5 perspective, E3 requires the manual setup and intervention for the external sharing rules, where E5 enables automatic governance policies that proactively block sensitive data from being shared inappropriately. E5's DLP and sensitivity labeling can also help you to ensure that confidential files remain protected even when shared internally or externally. Then, further elaborating on on E5, you can also use advanced threat protection. So here let's look at another risk. A finance employee uploads an infected Excel file to SharePoint. Without malware scanning, the file spreads across multiple departments, corrupting financial reports. Now here's some of the security configurations to explore is safe attachments. So you can automatically scan all file uploads for malware before allowing specific downloads. You can also have safe links, so you can detect and block malicious links that's embedded in shared files. And then from an insider risk perspective, you can monitor suspicious file transfers, flagging unusual data movements. While E3 does provide basic control, it doesn't proactively detect malware and it doesn't proactively protect you against insider threats, versus E5, which includes AI-driven security that identifies threats in real time before they can cause any damage. Now, E5's automated threat detection capabilities does help you to minimize the risk of ransomware, phishing, insider threats by analyzing user risk behavior and file activities. Now, some of the key best practices for secure collaboration could include, firstly, enforcing multi-factor authentication. So prevent unauthorized access even if the credentials are compromised by enabling multi-factor authentication on user accounts that accesses your data in these platforms. Then enabling sensitivity labels and auto classification. So this capability will ensure that documents are labeled as confidential or public or internal only when it's created. So this helps you to directly limit access to data with certain classifications. Then you can also monitor access logs and enable auditing. So regularly review the file access history and detect any anomalies. Then it's also about educating the employees on secure file sharing. So provide training on phishing risks and safe file sharing and compliance obligation that your organization may have to ensure that users are equipped to share effectively and to specify the certain requirements when sharing documents, especially with guests or external parties. Now, collaboration is really important for business productivity, but without the right security tools, organizations can risk financial losses, you can risk compliance violations, and more so reputational damage. E3 provides foundational security, but E5 delivers advanced compliance, automated threat detection, and insider risk management. So properly configuring Teams, SharePoint, and OneDrive prevents data breaches and ensures regulatory compliance. Friends, remember to take action today by reviewing your Microsoft 365 security policies and implement the right, most basic controls to prevent really costly breaches from happening to you or to your organization. In the next video, we will talk about simple steps to protect your business with Microsoft 365 by building a strong security strategy. We'll talk about how to align security with your business goals and practical steps to protect your organization by using the capabilities of E3 and E5. Thank you for watching, and until next time, remember to stay vigilant and stay secure.